Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam, talking today to my partner in crime all about the Book of Boba Fett. It's Stefan.
I am back.
Welcome
we
back,
are back.
buddy.
You are back. I haven't been away.
No.
I don't know why I started with that when I haven't been anywhere.
No.
Hey, did you miss me? No, you were here last week. Oh, okay.
Well, it's a strange thing to kind of do, like introductions. I'm never sure. I made a joke about you having like a TikTok voice for our videos on TikTok when you're talking about theories. Yeah. I very much have a podcast introduction voice. Like, hello and welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam.
The further into it, the more Bristolian you get.
Yeah, it's like I start very generic and then just me. Like I said,
by the end of it, let's go to pub and have a drink.
Yeah, here by heck. No, I mean, don't start me on accents. I'll be here all day. But today is the Book of Boba Fett day. Season 1, Episode 4 we're talking about, which is Chapter 4. And the title of the chapter is...
The Gathering Storm.
I love that. I don't know about you, but I read the names for this, because obviously they release them the day the episode comes out.
Yes.
And so I load up that just to see what the name is before I even watch the episode, just like as a little thing. I'm like, oh, this one sounds good. Like we had the tribes of Tatooine, now the Gathering Storm. It's good, I like it. But before we get into the episode this week, I wanted to sort of take a moment to discuss this, because me and you, obviously, like with any show, there's like bits you like, bits you don't like, stuff like that. But me and you are enjoying the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Enjoying it like we did The Mandalorian. Really enjoyed both of these shows from the same people. But the thing, unlike The Mandalorian, where it seemed to be universal... the Book of Boba Fett's getting a lot of hate online, and
it is really crazy. I went on to TikTok. I watched the episode on the Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'd gone on TikTok and I hadn't seen really anything at all. Whereas the week before I'd seen a lot about the biker gang and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is strange. Normally the next day there's me and you, I think, both follow the same sort of accounts on TikTok.
We do, yeah.
We get a lot of Star Wars and Marvel stuff come through on our page.
We do.
I was like, there's nothing on Boba Fett. This is strange. So I decided to open up TikTok. Not TikTok, Twitter, sorry.
Yeah.
Open up Twitter and loads of people like, oh, how do you make Boba Fett good? Have him not talking. How do you make Boba Fett better? Don't give us a backstory. And there's all this stuff, and I'm like, so basically, you're all now criticising the fact that you're getting what you wanted.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you've seen that as well.
I'm really confused. Like, we need more Boba Fett on screen. Give him more things to talk about. Give him some depth. Give him story development. Give him a backstory of how he survived the sand pit. Tell us his story. No, don't tell us his story. No, actually.
No.
Go back to being silent, menacing character in the background. Don't like it. Stop. No.
If it was purely just, little Timmy at twitter.com from his mum's basement, I think that'd be one thing.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think me and you could laugh that off. But I'm actually seeing I'm doing the air quotes that no one can see, journalists writing pieces as well. Like the Guardian newspaper has a entertainment section. And their journalist wrote, how Disney killed Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And I thought, I thought, hang on, is this a massive spoiler? Have you just decided to reveal the end of this season for everybody? It's awful. So I read the article.
Boba. What? Oh wait,
yeah. So I read the article, and the stuff it said in this article, man alive, just. I mean, all of what was said is kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, I can see your point. And I'm not saying it's like valid criticism. I'm just saying, okay, yeah, you're pointed out that the biker gang was really colourful and that's cartoony, therefore that's Disney and it's marketable to kids. And I'm like, you're saying all these things like, oh, that's a bad thing. Like, oh, no, children are like that. Oh, what? It's not like Star Wars is full of F-bombs and C-bombs every other word. It is designed for family. Like the original trilogy, I watched when I was 3 or 4 years old, and yeah, there's stuff that went over my head then that I've noticed later on. But I'm not of this opinion that like. Because I think I've said this to you before. When me and you did our podcast talking about the different trilogies, one of the things we were like, it's like the sequels, it just didn't have something for us. Like, we couldn't put our fingers on what it was, but it just didn't really work. And, we both just thought Episode 8 kind of killed stuff. But we did also kind of agree that there were characters and stuff in that weren't for us. Like, when we were younger, the droids and stuff like that, I had far more affection for R2-D2 and C-3PO as a kid than I do as an adult.
Yeah, exactly. And BB-8, I've got a
my
4-year-old.
daughter loves BB-8.
Yeah, there's a 4-year-old in the house who he doesn't even watch Star Wars.
No.
He's watched a few of the cartoon stuff with me and bits like that, and he'll watch the Lego Star Wars quite happily. Yeah. But BB-8 is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's exactly how I was as a kid.
Yeah.
R2-D2 was the best thing. Like, I'm going to Florida in a couple of months, and I am fully put money to one side to go and build myself a droid.
Good man.
Just because I'm like, it's that whole childhood. As an adult, I'm looking at it going, okay, C-3PO is actually really bloody annoying. Yeah, really as
annoying.
A kid, you have to walk around everywhere going, I am C-3PO, human cyborg relations.
But it's also like, as a kid, Luke... I just want to be Luke. I want to run around with a lightsaber. I want to be Luke. Be a Jedi. Awesome. As an adult, I want to be Han Solo.
Exactly.
I want to be the
changes.
smuggler, pirate, and also Han Solo is the one that tells 3PO to shut up on a regular basis. It's like, his best friend is a Wookiee. I mean, the guy's awesome. Yeah, absolutely awesome.
But it seems, Wookiee dude. I wonder if that is the problem. Like with the Twitter lot and all that lot is. These are people who, when the films came out, were probably in their 20s, let's say 25 and under.
Yeah.
And they've grown up with this whole Boba Fett is this badass bounty hunter who, because he didn't have the screen time and stuff, everyone kind of made up the stories in their head.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
He came onto Mando and was badass and everyone went, he is what we thought he was. This is brilliant. Yeah. And now we're getting the backstory and they're giving him actual, he's a clone and they're making him human.
I know.
I think people are skipping over this massive part of this guy is a clone. He is not a human being. He is a clone. He was made.
Yeah.
And he has developed human characteristics and everything else. This is massive. And everyone's going,
but it's
not shooty bang bang, don't like it.
But it's a kind of a nonsense, really. It's like, what are Disney learning here if you want to keep your character's helmet on to be any good? I'm like, no, shut up. Because the story of The Mandalorian was all about the guy in the helmet, everything like that. But as the story evolved in Season 2, you started to realise that he was doing it for kind of like the wrong reasons. It was kind of like he was following this creed, and it was other Mandalorians were going, dude, no, that's not the thing. Some real nut jobs believe that, but no, come on.
Yeah.
And it had a meaning to it when he took it off. Like, why did he ever take his helmet off? To find Grogu. And then to say goodbye to Grogu. Like, that, it had meaning, it had impact.
Yeah, that was Boba, the only reason he took that helmet off, yeah.
Yeah. Boba's not a Mandalorian. He's just wearing their armor because his father was gifted it for fighting in the Mandalorian Wars. So he isn't following a creed, anything like that. He wears that armor to fight.
Yeah.
And anytime you've seen him on screen in the story, it's been in a role where he's been potentially as a bounty hunter there to fight. Also, probably during a lot of the time, he didn't want people to see his face and see he was a clone.
Yep.
Now, it's been years. He has literally lived amongst the Sand People for years, which is why he now isn't used to wearing that anymore. He isn't wearing his armor. It's just a bizarre, it's a bizarre thing that people have created this headcanon, I think the term is, and because this isn't identical to what they wanted, they're throwing their toys out of the pram.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I had a version of him in my mind, and this isn't it. But I'm kind of excited by it. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that, or I wouldn't have done that. And because, like, for me, it's not a criticism. I just like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have done this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm enjoying it. I've just got ideas of how things could have been different.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't say. Oh, I'm not enjoying this.
No.
I'm really enjoying the show.
Yeah.
And even, I think I said to you, like, the first couple of episodes, it wasn't what I expected.
No, which is which I think is the same as many.
But it's still been really good. I really enjoyed the Tusken stuff.
Yeah, it was surprisingly, like, if someone had said to you before this series started, you're going to care about the Tusken Raiders by the end of it, and you just look at them like, who?
No.
Yeah. You mean the Sand people, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, let's dive into the episode then. This episode takes us back to Boba finding and saving Fennec, and one of the things in this episode which I really liked is we finally get a clear time picture, and it actually shocked me a little bit. Because we've been getting these flashbacks, Boba in his tank. This episode literally begins with Boba in his tank, and I think this is going to be the last one. Did you get that impression, the way they packaged it up?
Yeah, your healing is completed.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. So I liked the storytelling mechanism of this. Anyone who listens to our show about other things, flashbacks, major bugbear of mine when they are used too much and used in just a bizarre way.
Yeah.
This, I think they storylined this in quite well, and I think it really worked to give us this background. But one of the things we didn't have until this episode was really a perspective on time and how long he'd been on there. So we knew the events between the Return of the Jedi and the start of the Mandalorian was about 5 years.
Yeah.
So we learn in this, when he saves Fennec, etc., we learn that he actually lived in the village amongst those people, the Sand people, for years.
Yeah, now I did not think
No,
I understood there was a bit of a time difference as it was going through, because he was gaining their trust and stuff.
Yeah.
But I would have gone with months at most.
Me too. Like, there's a key reason why I had that in my mind, and that is because the child didn't grow up.
Yep.
However, someone has pointed out to me, the young Tusken, I mean.
Yeah.
The young Tusken who basically, and someone just sort of pointed out, and they're right. Like, Grogu was 50, and a baby and a toddler.
Yeah,
you don't know how old they are. You don't know how. You don't know
how they date, like
exactly,
age-wise and stuff. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, fair point. No, you're absolutely right. This is science fiction. I mean, they can write in whatever, and also for kids small anyway, between the age of say 8 and 11 or 8 and 12, perhaps they're not going to grow that much. So it was kind of like I didn't get obvious changes in what was going on because of that. However, when they did say it, like, I've lived amongst them for years, and then kind of someone tidied up the timeline along the lines of the Mandalorian was set then, these events in Mando were set then, and now we've caught up with that. It's like, he lived amongst them for like 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a long time.
It surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that. You spend half a decade with people, you go for a wander, and you come back one day and they've all been killed.
Yeah.
The impact of that, yeah.
If he had only been there for 4 to 5 months,
and
now all of a sudden we're like, he's actually been there for like 3 to 4 years, maybe.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that explains a lot more why he went full on like, no, I'm getting revenge.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You'd expect like the impact of him being upset by it after 3 to 4 months. Yeah, definitely. Upset, and then he moves on, and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, I grasp all that. But the idea that he lived amongst these people for years, because there's two parts of that. One is the attachment, obviously, but two, clearly he wasn't planning to leave.
He was there for the long run.
Yeah. If it had been that amount of time, he was gained their trust, he was free to leave, they were happy with him. He could have at some point turned around and said, right, I need to find my armor, I want to go back and get my ship, I want to have my life back. He even hints a couple of times there are advantages to people thinking I'm dead. It seems almost like he wants to bury Boba Fett in a way, but then as the episode moves forward, it was kind of funny. You realise that actually no, he's changed his mind. So the people, I think them being slaughtered kind of snapped him back to, I am Boba Fett. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It kind of like he was happy to be dead and just live out his days amongst these people because I think he was at peace, quite literally at peace.
Yeah.
And then the events happen then, and then, it's snapped back to reality.
Massively so. Yeah, I'm happy living here. I'm happy with the way my life is. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. Everything is, I'm going to go get revenge.
Big time.
There comes Boba again.
Yeah, and that to me is also kind of an interesting thing because like we talked about the criticism online and stuff like that, and one of the criticisms was like, this character's soft. He's constantly trying to find a peaceful solution. What the hell is this? This is nonsense. Why are we getting this? We do get a very clear-cut scene in this of when Boba feels right enough's enough. So we saw him beat the crap out of these biker gang in a bar. He didn't kill them.
Mm-hmm.
He did what he had to do to achieve what he wanted to achieve, and then he moved on.
Yeah.
They then killed the Tuskens. He didn't just go find them in a bar this time. He wiped them out.
Yeah, he got his shit back and destroyed them.
Yeah. How much... So, let's just do it bit by bit. So, how much did you enjoy the reference to the Mando where you remember the Mandalorian and that other bounty hunter trying to take Fennec and he was shooting the flares to try and blind her scopes?
Yes.
Okay, you've gone quiet. I feel like I've really nerded out now. And then in this episode, that's what Boba sees in the distance.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And then he rides there. Oh, okay, I can't not. So, he rides a bantha. The bantha is basically a massive dog wagging its tail.
I love it.
Oh, man. Why was that so funny? I have no idea
it's
why.
It's like the happiest thing.
It was. And, like, he loves it. He's just like, go, find another bantha. Have baby banthas.
Yeah, you can do it.
Oh, it cracked me up, man. It was so funny. That whole scene with him and that was hilarious. But he goes and finds Fennec, and we have that shot again of that we saw first in the Mandalorian after credit of him feet touching the ground, walking towards Fennec. It'd be interesting though just how much of this was already planned. I'd love to think it all was, but who knows. He gets Fennec. He takes Fennec to a mod bar to save her life. We've learned about people having these modifications like droid parts, so having an arm removed and having a droid arm instead, and things. And so basically this mod guy manages to save her life by removing her natural organs in that area and replacing them with droid parts. Very gross. Very weird. The guy like, why would I cover her up with that lovely machinery? I'm like, dude, it's weird. It's very weird.
I did not see that coming. Like when she started getting all the bits repaired and stuff like that, and I was there and I'm like, nope, I did not see Fennec having hydraulic parts.
But we knew that from Mandalorian season 2. Mando sees her for the first time and he goes, I thought you were dead, and she opens up her stomach's like all droid parts.
I'd completely forgotten at this point.
Okay.
Like at this point I'd completely forgotten.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was only like later on where I was like, no, wait a minute.
Yeah, no,
we do know she has metal
weird.
parts. Yeah.
I also think she took it really well. So like she wakes up with Boba, clearly wasn't expecting to wake up.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like looks at her stomach, realizing she's now droid, and he's like, "Yeah, I took you to a mod parlor, saved your life. Have a drink." She manages to just okay. It's like she takes that so well. I'm not sure I would have been that cool with it.
Like, I think if I'd have woken up and been told, oh, by the way, your entire stomach area is now pistons and tubing.
Yeah, I hope you never plan to have children, by the way, Fennec.
Yeah.
Because that ain't happening now, unless you plan the crap out of battery every now and again. But yeah, that was it was kind of crazy, and like I said, she master assassin Fennec Shan. Did you like? Because I enjoyed this a lot. I liked the fact that she reacted to the name Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's dead. Apparently not. Wait a minute.
I liked, because it was like he said, "I am Boba Fett," and she did this look of, "Oh shit, no, he's dead." no. Yeah, don't give me that. I like that. I like the fact that people know the name, so it's synonymous. It is infamous.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that aspect. 5 years after he's say gone, people are still reacting to the name. So that was good.
Everyone knows who Boba was. I think that's such a fun. It's like a fun little nod of. I know I keep saying it, for a character that didn't get much screen time but had such a massive effect on the galaxy itself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he was clearly a very famous bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's dead. No, he's not. Oh my god, it could be you. Yeah.
And so he wants
to
go and get his...
him. That's the best bit. Like, she proper doesn't believe him. Like, well, if it's your ship, just fly it out then.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
go on then.
Well, if it's yours, well, he says, well, if it's yours, why don't you just go ask for it back? And he's like, I don't think, I might not like the answer, and I'm not quite as persuasive about my armor.
Yeah.
He's got a good point. Definitely got a good point. But what did you think about the whole getting the ship back? I enjoyed this, including the stupid scene with the little droid rat catcher, which I know that was thrown in for the kid. Like, my daughter watched it and messaged me straight away going, "Oh, I want that. I want the little
catcher. Droid with the eye that turns itself off." Like,
but that was what cracked me up. He's like, he catches it and he throws the thing down like, fast little bugger, and Fennec's looking at him like, "Really? You're done? You're done?
You finished now?"
But
hold him by the throat. Do you know who I am? Off.
I am Boba Fett. And nope, off. I'll switch myself off. What did you spot the Star Wars Days Gone Past little reference with the droid and the knives?
No.
So General Grievous with all the lightsabers spinning. The droid in the kitchen, all the knives spinning.
Yes. That's smart.
Yeah, I've seen a few people do side-by-sides online already. It's quite fun. I mean, I saw it straight away and went, that's a meme. It's going to be a meme. Wait for
it. Yeah.
And there it is. Like seconds later, and it's arrived. Thank you very much. I spotted that straight away. I thought that was kind of fun. But yeah, them getting the ship back was hilarious, I thought. Just the comedy of the kitchen scene. And then the kind of action scene of Fennec taking out pretty much every guard by herself. He's trying to pilot the ship and is struggling. She's literally fighting hand-to-hand combat and he's giving her crap. Like, "Oh, can you open a door?" She's like, "In a minute."
Yeah, I'm a little bit busy.
But yeah, they get the ship out. One of the things that, again, seems to have angered Star Wars fans online is the fact they're not calling the ship Slave One. What's your opinion on this?
I haven't really got one. Like, that's his ship. Some people called it the Falcon. Some called it the Falcon.
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, I can't say that word. I realised as I started this sentence, I realised I'd messed myself up.
Don't ever sing the Robbie Williams song.
Oh, I don't. I butcher it anyway.
Good.
But yeah, no, I've not really had a big kind of... It's not something that's made me go, "Oh, don't like it."
No, it don't bother me.
Has a name.
Yeah, and it is called Slave One, and it still is called Slave One. He refers to it by its make model and calls it a gunship in this.
Yeah.
Disney don't want to use the word slave. They want to try and delete that from the vocabulary. There's obvious connotations to the word slave, and that's fine. The one thing I would say, and I do think people need to think about this in context, is really important. If this was, when Boba was captured during the flashbacks in Episode 1, do you think the Tusken Raiders captured him to eat him? Do you think they tied him up and made him go dig things for any other reason other than the fact he was a slave? Quite literally a slave. And Disney are wanting to delete the word but not the act. And when you consider that the word actually has connotations in computing and technology and in vehicles, i.e., if you were to tow another car, technically the car being towed is a slave.
Yeah.
That's the definition.
Yeah.
Slave One in a ship sense probably is a little bit of a kind of clone jab, maybe? Yeah. I don't know.
Potentially.
But, yeah, so to me, context is always really important. I can understand their position wanting to just delete it, and to be honest with you, I don't give a crap. Calling it the gunship was fine. I want to get my ship back, absolutely fine. You don't need to name check it, and people who need that, I think you need to question why you need that. It doesn't matter.
Need to be questioned like that?
Yeah. Like Han's ship was called the Millennium Falcon. I guarantee you, he very rarely called it that. It was the Falcon. Get to my ship. What a piece of junk.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need, and like I said, I do think context is key, and I do think that deleting language is stupid. Like, language exists and it can have multiple definitions. It's like how words evolve over time. They do, but you don't go back and delete Shakespeare because he used the word gay to describe happy.
Get you? Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
There are Christmas songs about being out and being gay. It's being happy. It's just from the time it was written.
Yeah.
I did see something funny the other day about Marvel, and apparently there was a New York slang at one point, which meant that you were a straight talker. You were referred to as a stiff dick.
Okay.
And there's a Marvel comic where Iron Man looks at Captain America and says, "Hey, stiff dick." And people have screenshotted it and are sharing it, and I'm kind of like, words and phrases have evolved over time. Looking at that today, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of these little things that were like olden day things that have changed, and if that is the reason he's not used the word, then it's just one of those things. We still know what the ship is called. It's still his ship.
Yeah, and like fine. I said, it doesn't bother me at all. I just think it's an odd thing when if part of the storyline, have Tusken Raiders take slaves, which is what they did, but then refuse to use the word in a computer sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a bit odd. It
seems a bit strange.
Seems a bit strange, but never mind. As long as you can take someone hostage, make them work for no pay and food, but as long as you don't call them a slave, they're what are they? Prisoners with jobs.
That's it. Yeah. A working prisoner. Yeah.
I don't like that word. Okay, fine. The prisoners with jobs have armed themselves. So he gets his ship back and he takes out that gang and he does it cold, man. He is ice about it. And the music, you don't even have like a big scene of like, I'm going to go do that. He just flies in, nails them with the Boba music. Dun, 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 dun. Fennec just gives him a kind of like, nice.
Yeah, she just like nods at him like, fair play. Yeah.
But don't you think that was kind of like you are Boba Fett? Okay. Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Yeah, you have proven yourself.
Any lingering doubts of this guy just stole Boba's ship is gone. It is you. Fair enough. No problem. What were your thoughts when he went back to the Sarlacc? I know we got a discussion about the armor coming up, but what were your thoughts about when he went back to the Sarlacc pit? There's Jabba's barge still there, like a wreckage gradually being taken by the desert.
And the Jawas, I reckon, have probably had a field day on that.
The Jawas, how was that thing even any of it left? But is it just me, or did I genuinely expected him just to hover there and drop one of those charges and then fly off?
Yeah, pretty much. I was expecting him to fly over, drop a charge, blow it, and go, now we're even.
Exactly. Just kind of like, because he said settling scores, so he took out that biker gang and they're like flying over the Sarlacc pit. I was like, oh wow, he's gonna kill the mighty Sarlacc.
Yeah, I was convinced.
No, he didn't. So this isn't me and you have had this discussion by a message. So let's bring it to the podcast. He went there looking for his armor, and you are very confused by this.
Yeah, so. I messaged you and I was like, wait a minute. Okay, we now know from this point that it was years ago. This is where he makes the comment about it's been years or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But he fought his way out of it. Yeah. He broke to the surface. And we know he was in a really bad way.
Yeah, big time.
But he was wearing his armour.
Yeah, that's... Yeah,
and now I'm kind of like, wait a minute. Why would he think his armour is still inside it when he knows that he got out? But he was fair enough. He was unconscious. He had collapsed near to death, etc. And the Jawas robbed him. The little buggers. However,
yeah,
he was out whilst wearing it, so surely his first thought should have been, I've been robbed.
Yeah.
Realistically, I guess his first thought should have been, the Tusken Raiders have taken it off of him and now he's a slave for them.
It's funny because it's interesting because obviously the Tuskens nursed him back to health enough that he was able to, react. You'd imagine when he was there for that amount of time and he was able to communicate, at some point he might have gone, all right, enough's enough. What did you do with my armor?
Yeah.
And they'll go, you weren't wearing any armor when we found you. At that point, does his confused adult brain think, crap, it must have stayed inside, I must have crawled out of it? Or I must have undressed myself. It must still be at that bloody pit. Or like you said, or does his brain go, well, who the bloody hell took it then? Because I definitely made it out of the Sarlacc wearing it.
Yeah. And
it feels like there's a line of dialogue missing.
Yeah, would he have taken the armour off to get out of the Sarlacc,
It was the thing is, like, in his mind, he might have been thinking, I got out of the pit, the thing was covered in the acid, maybe I crawled out of it, thinking I needed to get. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. It's like, get out of the armor, and then in his mind he might be thinking it's then been swallowed back up by the Sarlacc.
Yeah, he just need, like you say, just a line of dialogue or something somewhere.
It feels like it needed a line along the lines of when he come back up, you almost wanted him, because when Fennec was like, he's like, oh, I'm finding junk, and she's saying you're burning, like it's gone, like you are literally hurting yourself. What are you doing? At that point, you almost like a line like, well, now I know it was stolen. Do you know what I mean? It's like a line there of like, well, at least now I know it was definitely stolen.
Yeah.
Well, and her to go, well, where do we look then? And he just looked, Jawas.
Yeah.
It kind of needed a line. I suppose, like with most things, you can create the canon itself, like we've just done then. But I do get your point, because he was very clearly out of the pit, although collapsed, was still compass mentis enough that when the Jawas came, he did try and fight them off, if you remember, and then they knocked him out.
Yeah.
So he should remember, even if he don't remember that, he should remember he left the pit wearing the armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so he does go back. The ship gets grabbed, which was the most predictable thing ever in the history of the world, and still made me jump.
Yeah, it made me laugh. I was like, oh, here we go.
Well, it was it. I was like, I know what's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know it's... Oh my God, it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, still made me jump. The
Fennec
way of dealing with it...
Be careful.
Yeah.
It's like, it had big scenes of the Falcon in the giant worm thing on the moon.
Oh, I remember.
It was that sort of... Almost like a little nod to that, I felt. I was like, here we go, wait for it.
And gets grabbed. Using the depth charge thing to kill the Sarlacc.
Don't touch my buttons again.
Yeah.
I love that.
I feel that using that at any point in Star Wars will get the audience on side. That noise that is probably right up there with one of the best sci-fi noises ever. Yeah, loved it. So yeah, he does get revenge. The Sarlacc's been blown apart. So what I thought was he was just going to do initially ended up happening anyway.
Yeah.
And then the two of them have the kind of conversation which kind of then brings us back up to date, which is, starting his own family, his own kind of organisation. Fennec accuses him of going soft, and then you get the line, which I think is the thing that seems to be driving everybody insane, is Boba Fett was always about him, about just being a bounty hunter, a lone guy, just trying to make his way in the universe, all that crap. But he realised, living with the Sand People, he felt better. He felt it was a smarter move to be part of a tribe. You're stronger.
Safety
part of a
in
family.
Numbers sort of thing, almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that
it gives you something to fight for. If you've got a family and stuff there, a tribe, a family, it gives you something to fight for, more reason to do it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's what he says, and he sells Fennec on it. And Fennec really, up to this point, was kind of on the fence. Fennec was kind of like, I've repaid my debt for you saving my life, and he even says like a couple of times, okay, you're free. What do you want to do? She buys into it. She's like, okay, yeah. I mean, he does say to her as well, which is, I will offer you something that you won't get anywhere else, and that is, I will be watching your back as well.
Yeah, loyalty. It's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That, you can tell by her reaction, that's not something she's heard before.
No. She's lived her life master assassin Fennec Shan. I mean, she's lived her life very much like Boba Fett lived his. So you rely on yourself alone.
Contract to contract, you do your job.
Exactly.
You keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
At least you try to keep yourself safe.
Yeah, and of course that's going to be playing on her mind as well. Mando and that other guy got the drop on her. Did shoot her, did leave her for dead. She should be dead right now. If Boba was there, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in her mind, she's probably thinking, yeah, this does sound a lot better. And he also lays it out as well, like, how many times have you taken a job where you knew it was crap? You knew this was a stupid idea. It was going to cause more problems than it solved. People were going to die needlessly. And he's like, because we know that, we're smart enough to do things better. So, now we come back to the up-to-date stuff. You can understand his decision making now. You can understand what he's driving at and what he's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
He is still a ruthless bastard if he needs to be, but he's trying to do things in a way where people are only killed as a last resort, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. He has like a moral compass now that he didn't have as just a bounty hunter.
Agreed. Yeah, and that came from basically being part of a family, a tribe with the Tuscans. What did you think of the sort of Godfather Mafia scene with them all sat at the table?
Oh, yeah, no, before we hit that one, we've got to talk about the casino bit, the scene beforehand, the casino.
Okay.
Where we first get Black Kirstan's back.
Yeah.
Now, we spoke last week in the podcast about, is this going to be the end of this character? Was it a nice nod to the comic book fans and stuff? Here you go, here's your character. Yeah. Or is he going to come back? I think 2 episodes ago.
Answer.
Yeah, 2 episodes ago or so, we said about, what would happen if Boba was to offer him a job or to have him work with him. Yeah. And we thought that when he ran off, we were like, that would have been nice to see. No, we were right. Just throwing that out there.
I still use the term, let the Wookiee win.
Yes.
On a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I use that term typically for women in my life when they are being unreasonable. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm just getting an update about half our audience have just switched off. Half the listeners have now switched off and gone to a different show. But basically, it's just like, do you know what? Sometimes it is not worth this argument. I'm going to let the Wookiee win.
Oh, wow.
But that saying comes from let the Wookiee win.
It's the 3D chess, isn't it? The holographic chess.
Yeah, the hologrammatic chess where I think Han Solo points out that Wookiees are known for ripping people's arms out of their sockets.
Yes.
Flash forward to this.
So
he just
good.
Decides he's going to beat 7 bells of shit out of these guys.
He's just watching them as he drinks. He's getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And then he's like, nah, I'm going to have them. Have them.
How much did you laugh when the one hit him over the head with a bottle?
He's like,
and he just slowly turns around and the guy still stood there like, uh-oh.
Yeah, that wasn't as good as I thought it'd be, yeah. No, in his head, he's like a hero knocking him out with a bottle. In reality, he just got thrown across a bar. Yeah.
Yeah, just absolutely.
And not just over the bar itself. He literally landed the other end of the building. Like, he got launched.
I feel at this point, I feel at this point is also a good moment for us to discuss the manager of the bar, the lady in charge, because clearly Mos Eisley, Mos Espa, and all these different places are rough places on Tatooine.
Yes.
So to run a place like this, you've got to be pretty cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
She is that. She without a shadow of a doubt.
Right, when you finish beating everyone up, you've got a bar tab to fill. Well, here's the deal. Yeah. You can either have no bar tab and put that bloke down, or you can pay your bar tab and do what you want. And you can see him weighing it up. I'll rip his arm off.
He does. Brilliant. He rips his arm off and then pays the tab calm as you like.
I loved it, yeah.
But just to finish it off perfectly, he walks past Boba like a little bit of a nod. And Boba says to the woman, worth a try? And she's like, yeah. And just everyone carry on, play the music while we clear up this guy's arm.
It's the way, she's like, yeah, worth a try. All right.
Yeah. It was great. I just, everything about
Bob
that
was
scene
just
was
stood
brilliant.
there watching, going, I ain't getting involved in this one.
No, because that was the thing. I was thinking to myself, oh no, is she gonna turn around to him like, what am I paying you for, Daimyo? But she wasn't. She was just trying to handle it herself, because clearly that's what an average Friday night's like at this place.
Yeah, if it's not a Wookiee ripping limbs, then, hey.
Yeah, exactly. What else
It's
are
a
you gonna do?
whole new sense of the word throwing limbs, eh?
It does, yeah. Oh my god, limbs in the away end, big time. But yeah, so Boba recruits him. It just shouts "mate" at him, and he turns around like, "What?" By the way, big badass Wookiee dude has got a massive gun on his back.
Yes.
I really want to see this guy in a proper fight at some point, not just hand to hand. I want to see this guy full on fighting.
I mean, he's going to mess most people up, either at range now or face to face. Yeah, he's...
Can't wait.
Yes.
It's going to be brilliant.
Yes.
So that was interesting. Big badass Wookiee dude is now Team Boba, stood around him with Fennec whilst they meet with these guys around the table. We also, and by the way, I had completely forgotten about the Rancor.
Yes.
But we have an hilarious moment where Boba manages to threaten everybody in the room without threatening anybody in the room.
Just these two claws come through the grate, like, you're hungry, sorry.
The whole table shakes. They all jump up out in the eye, and he just goes, sorry, he's hungry. Sit back down. And they're all like, what? I mean, that is just the best threat, non-threat in the history of the world.
Because everyone says that Rancor is what gave Jabba so much power.
Yeah.
Because, you disobey him, you're going to get thrown in the pit. They've not had that since Luke. No. And now all of a sudden it's like, it's back.
Yeah, Boba's palace, Boba's got a Rancor.
I really want to see a scene of him just walking through the town, sat on its shoulders or something.
Well, he wants to learn how to ride it, doesn't he?
I just want to see that scene of him walking around going, I don't need a litter. I have a Rancor.
No, that's it. They talked, didn't they? Like, oh no, you got to come in on a litter so people know you and respect you. I'm sorry, him riding the Rancor into town would far better image.
You're walking into the bank or something and there's a Rancor outside. You're like,
tied up.
We'll go another day.
Yeah, I'm good. Do you know what? I was coming in here to buy a week's worth of water with a month's worth of wages, but I've decided, screw it, I'll die of thirst.
Yeah, I'm good.
But yeah, we have that scene, and the kind of funny thing about it is they're trying to be standoffish, and they're obviously in a weird position where they all used to work for Jabba.
Yep.
Then when Jabba died, they all went their own way, so they've all got their own little setups. And Boba's, I think in an ideal world, they'd all, bend the knee, to use a Game of Thrones term.
Yep.
But he knows that's not going to happen without big things. He knows he's got a fight with the Pikes coming. So he kind of just like, look, this is the deal. Stay out of it. You're not going to back me up. That's fine. I'll kick their ass by myself. But stay out.
Yeah,
Fennec
I love it.
doesn't...
Just stay neutral. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't feel like any of those people at that table are going to stay neutral.
No, I'm with you. I feel like... And I think Fennec's very much on our wavelength as well.
Yeah.
Again, this could just be us experience from every other show we've watched, like stabbed them in the back. But it kind of feels like...
Boba comes out with it. He has a good line, actually, where he says, Fennec asks him, do you trust them to stay neutral? And he's like, I trust them to keep their best interests of fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, actually, if they know, if you mess with him, you're in trouble. Yeah. There's a better chance of them not staying neutral, but them just literally getting right out of the way. Like, I am not. I want you guys to beat him, but you go do it yourself because I am not getting involved.
Yeah, I think he's going to rely on that. I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of them turns on him, though. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I'm interested. I think you're right. I think he is to an extent. Now, of course, the end of this episode made my daughter absolutely jump up, by the way.
Yeah.
Because she recognised a piece of music.
Yeah, she did.
And I think most Star Wars fans who are fans of The Mandalorian would have done as well, is when they're talking about getting hired muscle, and he says, I've got lots of credits, and Fennec's like, well, you know where to look. And they deliberately played the Mandalorian music. And I had goosebumps. I loved that. That was so beautifully woven in. and then the episode ends literally on that note.
You know
which
when
is
you have
like,
that bit in your head where you're like, I think that it definitely was it? No,
Yeah.
it must have been. It definitely was the Mando
was.
music. It was the Mando
Yeah,
music.
it was. Yeah, I was over the moon because it's the second time in the episode, because
Yeah.
the moment where you see the flashes in the distance and he goes and finds Fennec, it happens then, like really subtly. The music literally just changes to and then that's it. And I was kind of like, oh, did I? I don't know, maybe. And then the end of the episode is definitely there. I'm like, oh, that's a massive hint that next week he's going to show up. So I don't think he's going to. I think we're going to keep getting teased constantly.
The final episode, he might turn up and kick ass and leave.
Yeah, like, oh, Fennec, what happened to the guy you were trying to do? He said he'll show up, but he's running late, and he just like walks in and just starts shooting people. Yeah, sorry, I'm late.
Yeah.
I couldn't find. If he says I couldn't find my way, I'd crack up. Yeah, sorry, I'm late. I lost my way. Nice. Yeah,
This is the way, or is it this way, or maybe this way?
Yeah. Well, he don't have a ship anymore. We don't even know what's going on with Mando, because these events are after Mando season 2. So Grogu's gone. He took off his helmet. He's got the dark saber.
Yeah.
It has, what we know, Mandalorian season 3 is going down, but what's going on? Is he going to show up with Bo-Katan? There's a rumor, a big rumor, that actually there's going to be a Bo-Katan series as well. So,
Ooh.
yeah, man, there's a lot going on in Star Wars, but the idea of him showing up as a cameo actually really kicks down a lot of doors of telling us what else is coming up. So,
Well, that is true. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, well, either way, the new episode drops Wednesday. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Absolutely loving this show. Hope everybody's enjoying our discussion on it as well. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for listening. I mean, our listenership for this show is growing and growing. So despite the negativity that you find in factions online and in the press, there are obviously a lot of people enjoying it, and that's great. That's what I like.
Yes.
So all hail Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Long may they continue. Anything else you want to touch on for the episode, my friend?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good too. So we'll be back next week to discuss the very next episode. Hopefully the Mandalorian's going to show up. Until then, everyone, you take care.
And always let the Wookiee win.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.